Just do want to show some things to remind myself in a month or two or three later in the year how to do what I'm doing right now. Right now, I'm transferring UVs, so old UVs on these objects, but I need to transfer them over. So you just select your first one, which is the dominant, and then the second one you want to transfer to, and then just go to Mesh. Select, Shift select, and I just go up to, I can see how they're different on all four of them. Again, transfer on these other forms. See the UV mapping that I did, and in ZBrush. So when I transfer it from the old one, again, Mesh, Attribute Editor, make sure it's on component mode, hit transfer. Again, that's what I did with the little inner forms. Okay. Again, this is kind of a waste of time because I went with a different method, but at least this got them all kind of set up with similar UV maps. Later on, I'll compact them all onto one UV editor mode. Just a second, so I'll show that. I'm going to show one video at a time. So I'm showing some mistakes that I've made along the way. A lot of learning curves on this. So you can see what we're doing here. We're setting this up. So substance, so each of these little quadrants will be read separately in substance, so that I can color each one differently and come out with a different texture map. So this is a UDIM process. So one of the bad things that happened, I was excited about getting it to this far, but then realized there are some issues. I think game engines don't like it to have multiple textures on top of each other. So right here, you see me circling around those inner forms. They're all 5 of them are sitting on top of each other, and so later on you'll see create some issues. So go ahead and show you the process later, what I'm doing here, but I'll show you some issues. So you can see some really weird artifacting here. Again, that's caused by stacking on top of each other, I think. So I wanted to get away from that. So I wanted to show you this video because I was excited about it, but then I realized it was a wrong method for this. All right, so I'm going to keep going, keep showing some other videos. Again, this is a reminder for me in a couple months what to do correctly. This may be another disaster. See, the edges are a bit cleaner. So go to normal. Normal maps are showing. Ambient occlusion is working. So this is the final. So this is where it came out great. All right. So jumping to the end here, but this is how it came out great. One of the things that I realized, I was exporting just one object and then trying to bake it on both. Well, I realized that you need to combine both of them and then export out the low and the high mesh of these. So this becomes very, very heavy, almost 900 megabytes for these forms. So I baked them out high and low. That way all of these get hit with ambient occlusion. Before I was just doing one, it was not doing all of them, was just doing one. I'll show you a video really quickly what that looked like. All right. Again, getting exciting about the process of putting this all together. One of the things I did is a cool thing is go out to layout, and just selected the 5 objects, those inner forms, and I put the texture map size at 2048 and put some padding so on the edge it comes off the wall. Tile 1 by 1. So I wanted all those to sit on one UV tile. Same with this. I wanted all these to sit on one UV tile. And you notice now that they're split into 2. They're not one sitting on top of each other, especially the 5. I wanted to separate those out. So I think this is key so you don't get to really weird artifacting. And I can only imagine what would happen in Maya. All right, so I'm selecting everything, combining it. And one of the big things is make sure you right-click edge and relax the edges or smooth them. Okay, FBX, so that we have all the different layers. So when you go into substance, you have all the different objects and so forth. Right here I got smoothing groups, triangulate, export out, and I think you just in a second you see me make a mistake. And you can see I'm going to 20, 4K. Really important, create texture set per UDIM tile. And here I'm selecting high and low, baking these texture maps onto these forms. Again, this was a mistake one. You can see some really weird artifacting going on. And I don't think I relaxed them. And also I didn't export all the forms together as one big unit. I was just doing that one. So I had to go back into ZBrush and combine them all together, export a low one and a high one, and rinse and repeat the whole thing, what I showed earlier in the final video. So you can see there, it's only 129 megabytes. So that was just the one form. So it kept us doing all the texture maps on the very front one. You can see the process that I'm doing. And you can see right there, it's just doing that front one on the very top, not doing the rest. It was spitting out some data, but it doesn't collect it at the end. I'll go all the way through this real quick. See the nasty results. Okay, so you can see over to the left, the normal map is completely flat. No data are on these things, no ambient occlusion. And really quickly on the size of the brush is just command and right click. We'll go size it up or down. Again, this is all just a real quick tutorial for myself. I remember it. Okay, so you're going to see the mistake now. We're going to go to ambient occlusion. So you see normal map is not showing up at all. Again, it was only baking that first one because it didn't have the other 4. again, normal map, nothing, except for the very first form, and the inclusion completely white. So that's when I realized totally making a mistake. There. So it's good to see this as a bad result. Okay, I'm going to go back to the final video. Again, these are good results. Again, that was taking both those forms, creating a mesh with all the UV maps spread out into the one UV tile, and then keeping those UV layouts and taking it to ZBrush, going from low to high, 6 divisions, and exporting it out. Also the low division, exporting it out, and baking it out. And the bakes take forever just because it's a lot of data. But now you can see data is good. When we go to our normal map, you can see all the data is spread out throughout all the forms. Before it was just all blue. Ambient occlusion, all of them have ambient occlusion baked on. Again, you have to take them all out as one mesh. Make sure they're all on one UV tile and not overlapping each other. And then totally bake out high, bake out low, and then bring everything back into Maya. All right, again, super, make sure that when you bring it into Maya, right-click Edge, and then Edit, Mesh, and then Smooth. Make sure everything's smooth. All right, that's a little bit of what I've learned. We'll get into Substance a little bit more, but Substance was quite successful, as you can see.